ever noticed that someone with Parkinson's disease seems to struggle more as the sun goes down? This can be due to a phenomenon known as Sundowner Syndrome, where symptoms intensify as the sun sets. In this video, we'll explore what Sundowner Syndrome is, why it happens, and how you can help manage its effects. My mom was suffering with sundowners pretty regularly, but I found this great product that I bought for her. It's now her very favorite thing. This is not clickbait. It's a real thing, and she really loves it. I'll share it with you in a minute and tell you why it's so awesome. Stay tuned to learn more about sundowners, a challenging aspect of Parkinson's disease, and learn how to support your loved ones as they go through it. Sundowner Syndrome, also known as sundowning, is a condition often observed in individuals with Parkinson's disease and other neurodegenerative disorders. It's also sometimes called disruptive nocturnal behavior. It refers to the emergence or worsening of symptoms as the evening approaches and the sun sets. Patients may experience increased confusion, agitation, anxiety, and restlessness during this time. These changes can be particularly distressing for both the patient and their caregivers, as the usual coping mechanisms and routines may become less effective. Sundowner syndrome also affects patients with dementia and can occur at any stage of dementia. But with Parkinson's patients, however, it's usually seen in the middle to later stages of the disease. The exact cause of Sundowner syndrome is not fully understood, but several factors are believed to contribute to its occurrence. Fatigue accumulated throughout the day, changes in light and shadows, and disruptions in the body's internal clock, or circadian rhythms, are thought to play significant roles. Additionally, the natural reduction in cognitive function and the decline in dopamine levels that occur in Parkinson's patients may also exacerbate these symptoms. Environmental factors such as unfamiliar surroundings, inadequate lighting, and noise can also intensify the effect of sundowning. Some of these things can be managed, but others cannot. Managing Sundowner syndrome involves a combination of strategies tailored to the individual's needs. Creating a calm and structured evening routine can help reduce anxiety and confusion. Ensuring that the living environment is well lit during the late afternoon and evening can minimize the impact of changing light conditions. Regular physical activity and exposure to natural light during the day can also support better sleep patterns and reduce restlessness. In some cases, medications may be adjusted to help manage symptoms more effectively. It seems that sundowning occurs most in the later stage Parkinson's patients. My mom does suffer from this. To be totally honest, I am not sure if she's considered late stage of Parkinson's or mid stage. It's really hard to tell. The doctor says she's not in the late stages yet, and I'm hoping he's right. Anyway, I'm doing a video soon, I think it may be the next one on my list actually, about the staging of Parkinson's disease, so maybe you can help me figure it out. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. That one's going to be very interesting. Anyway, here's how I solved Mom's Sundowner syndrome symptoms with one simple purchase. It's this amazing clock. It sounds ridiculous, and many of you are probably going to be skeptical about this, but it's a game changer. I have a link to this clock down in the description below, so you can go to Amazon and purchase it if you'd like. I definitely recommend getting one for any elderly person in your life, for yourself, or for anyone else who has any level of confusion or potential sundowning symptoms. And now that I think about it, it might be great for a child too, and I may get one for my grandchildren. I feel like my younger grandson especially could really appreciate it. Anyways, my mom wakes up in the middle of the night and will be confused. Is it nighttime or daytime? Before getting this clock, she would call me regularly at 3 a.m. asking where she is supposed to go. And why am I not at work? Why do I sound like I'm sleeping? I calmly remind her that it's 3 a.m. and I was sleeping, and that she should be sleeping too. It's the middle of the night, and I have to coax her back to bed. My mom now tells me at least once a week that her clock is her favorite thing. She said she regularly wakes up from a short nap, and she can just glance at the clock and know immediately if it's nighttime or daytime, and even what day of the week it is. I have recommended this clock to others, and everyone has responded back to me commenting on how awesome it is. It's got big print that can be easily seen from across the room. Now, a quick story about my mom and her clock. She lives in assisted living, and the clock is on a bookshelf directly in front of her bed. That way, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she can easily glance over and see it. If the clock says it's nighttime, she says she just rolls over and goes back to sleep. Perfect. Well, one day my mom woke up in the middle of the night and the clock was off. So my mom called me the following morning and was panicking because her clock was broken. Luckily, she had her wits about her and she looked at the phone to see what time it was. She said it was about 5 a.m. So she said since it was still dark outside, she knew that it was morning and not dinner time, so she just went back to sleep. But then she started panicking that her prized possession, this clock, was broken. She waited until about 8:30 in the morning to call me, thank goodness. But I told her to check the plug on the back of the clock and also the part that goes into the wall. I thought maybe her cleaning person had accidentally unplugged it. She messed with the plug at the back of the clock and the clock turned back on. We found out later it was actually a power outage, but anyways, yay for Mom. I'm not sure how, but the clock also reset itself back to the right time. Mom was thrilled. This could have completely ruined her day, but instead she felt proud of herself that she was able to listen to my instructions and fix it herself. This clock is amazing. I might buy another one just to have on hand in case it ever really does die, because she would be devastated without her clock. Moving on. Another sundown issue my mom gets is confusion about things that earlier in the day are not an issue. This doesn't happen all the time, but it's enough that it frustrates her a little bit. Like she can't figure out how to change the channels on the TV sometimes, or how to adjust the temperature on the thermostat. She says that she can usually bring herself out of the confusion by having a snack. So I make sure she has plenty of snacks available in her room. I also try to text her each evening shortly after dinner to remind her to turn her lights on, because when she has the lights on in her room, it alleviates some of the sundowning effects too. Other people may experience disorientation, anxiety, agitation, pacing, wandering, aggression, screaming, and overall unhappiness. My mom doesn't experience any of those things, thank goodness. In some of the worst cases of sundowners, the person may try to escape and may not be able to follow simple directions, so they will need to be watched very carefully. Luckily, my mom, like I said, only has slight confusion at this point. She says it really only affects her if she gets startled and wakes up quickly. She may not know if it's daytime or nighttime. Before we got the clock, back when she would call me at 3 a.m. wondering where she needed to be, I would ask her if she can see that it's dark out. She would say yes. She knows it's 3 o'clock, and she knows that 3 during the day it's not dark. But I still needed to convince her that she should go back to sleep. One time recently I asked her specifically what she's thinking at that moment when she's confused. Now, my mom is very lucid, or she's not. But 99% of the time, she's very lucid and understands and can really describe what's going on. And she told me during one of her lucid times when I was talking to her about this, she explained that even though it's dark out and even after I would tell her that it's the middle of the night, she sometimes wouldn't believe me. She said it's like arguing with yourself. Part of her knew I was right and she needed to go back to sleep, but the confused part of her brain would overpower it and would not give in. She says she finds herself arguing with herself a lot about a lot of different things lately. She said the lucid part of her brain understands what's going on and knows what time it is, knows where she needs to be, knows how to use the remote control, but then the confused part just constantly interferes, which is sad. But she's aware of it, and she has some strategies on how to convince the confused part of her brain to listen to the lucid part. Not all the time, like I said, probably 95% of the time she can function just fine. She also experiences difficulty falling asleep, which can be part of the sundowners, part of Parkinson's, or part of aging. But she has always been that person that stays up really late, so maybe it's just part of her makeup. You know, every person is different. So here are some tips on how to care for someone experiencing sundowners. Since sundowning starts when the sun goes down, thus the name, try to keep a calm atmosphere with lights on. Allow them to slowly adjust to the nighttime. My mom, for example, has always liked being in the dark. Even during the day, she will keep the blinds closed. I personally love bright and airy spaces, so I would open it up every time I came to visit. I once found out that darker spaces can exaggerate the confusion, and I told her that. So she agreed to open the blinds during the day. She wants to help herself. Yay. And she doesn't sit in the dark and watch TV anymore either. She'll turn the light on next to her. It's not bright, but there is some light. Now, another tip is communication. This is sometimes difficult, but just stay calm. Don't argue with them, especially when they're confused. Don't talk about anything stressful or intense with them in the afternoon or evening. Keep things light and calm. If they insist that it's morning when you know it's night, just calmly give short explanations to help them realize what time it actually is. Also, if they start getting too confused and too frustrated, just change the subject. You know them best, what things make them happy and calm, and try to talk about those things. Just change the subject. Then the third tip is figure out what triggers the sundowners in your loved one. My mom's trigger seems to be getting startled and woken up. It's pretty hard to eliminate noises. She lives in a place near others, and we don't know for sure what is startling her. So we can't really intervene to change things. But other triggers may be things that you can change. Watch for physical signs earlier in the day, or for things that may have stood out as different that day. Did they watch a disturbing TV show? Did they argue with someone earlier? Did something happen, like their clock breaking, that will trigger something later? Did they eat a totally different diet than normal? Experts say these may be triggers for some Parkinson's patients. The fourth tip, and probably the most important one, is to keep them safe. If you feel like they can endanger themselves or others, maybe get professional help. But if they wander, they get confused, make sure the doors are locked, and maybe add a secondary latch that's harder for them to open. I have read that some people put red stop signs on all exterior doors, and somehow that works to alert them not to go through that door. Use common sense. Remove anything that can confuse them or harm them. Now, the last tip is to take care of yourself. It's exhausting caring for someone with Parkinson's and or sundowners. I stayed with my mom for about a month before we could find her assisted living. It was so hard. Not that she was difficult, but I was worried about her, and I didn't 100% understand what was happening. I had a life that I was ignoring during that time. I did work remotely from her house, but that was very hard because it's hard to concentrate. I was exhausted, and I had to keep an ear open for her at all times. I had no time to myself, and it was very difficult. I had to quickly take showers while she slept. I had to remain alert and aware of what she was doing at all times. I didn't want her getting hurt. I did some meditation exercises at bedtime, and that really helped me tremendously while I was staying at Mom's. I do them at home, too. My daughter came and slept over a couple times so I could have a little break, and that was a godsend. I needed it more than I realized at that time. If you are a full-time caregiver, I applaud you. It is the hardest job. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope it helped clear up what Sundowners is and how to manage things. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and comment down below so you can be part of our new formed Parkinson's community. Okay, there's nobody yet except for me, but this is only video number 4. As time goes on, I'm hoping more people will find this channel and will enjoy these videos and enjoy being part of this community, and we can comment and chat with each other, give each other tips and suggestions. We need people to start jumping in, though, and commenting. So if you are brave enough to do so, I would appreciate it. The next episode is going to be about the stages of Parkinson's disease. You won't want to miss that one, so make sure you're subscribed. Thanks again. Appreciate you.